So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a log of a Stata session and then how to access that log. So to start off, I'll explain briefly what a log is. So a log is just basically it's saving everything that comes into the Stata output panel here of the Stata console. And it saves it as a text document that you can look at later and scroll through. And this is handy for a couple of reasons. One is for yourself as the analyst. If you are working on manipulating some data or running some analyses, you want to be able to replicate or figure out what you did. And a log is one way to preserve that. So since everything that comes into the console here, into the output here, includes the commands as well as the results, if you save all of that, then you'll just have a running record of everything that you typed into Stata, all of the commands that you ran or errors that you ran into, or anything like that. So it's really helpful to your future self as an analyst to be able to retrace all of your steps. Another reason why a log is really helpful is because if you're trying to troubleshoot something, so this would be you're trying to manipulate a data set in a certain way or get an analysis to run and you're running into errors. A log will let you communicate what you've done to a collaborator really easily. So if you're running into an issue, as opposed to having to try to explain what you were doing, you can just send the log file to a collaborator, to a colleague, to your professor, something like that, and they'll be able to look at what you're doing and help you figure out what was going on. So that's what a log does. I'm going to show you first how to set up a log. So again, I'll start here by just showing you how to do that with the menu, and then we'll see the commands that you would be able to just type into Stata. So I'm going to go up here to the File tab, open that, and then you'll see we can come down to this part of the menu for log, and we just type begin, and then it comes up here with a folder navigator so that we can get to whatever the folder is where we want to save this log, and then you can just type something in, and you'll see this is already navigated to the folder where I would want to save all of this. So what I would do is just type, in this case, I'll just type log example. Okay, so then it just saved all of that right there. And then what I can do is I'll just do, for demonstration purposes, so I'm going to type this command in, which is not the subject of this video, which just sets a working directory, excuse me. And then I'm going to run this command, and then this is going to import some data for us. And so you'll see that this shows up right here. And then what I will do is close the log. So let's say this is all I wanted to record, because again, this is just for demonstration. Then you can just, you could go up here to File, Log, Close. The other thing is you can just type log close, and then you'll get this message right here saying that it's closed the log file. And so what that looks like is in the folder where I saved that, there's now this file that says log example, because that was what we named it, .smcl. And what happens is if I double click that, it opens a session of Stata, and then it opens up the log right here. So this is everything that we saw in this data session that we ran right here. It's just that this way you can go back and not have to rerun any commands or anything. You can just kind of review the commands that were entered and then what happened to all of that. And so for simple things like in this case, just importing some data wasn't necessary to log anything. But when you start to manipulate data, create variables, rename variables, all of those sorts of things, getting ready for analysis is very handy to have just a record of everything that was done. And if you're running analyses and you're trying to figure out how to do something, which is fairly common for many Stata users, then having a log of everything lets you see what you've tried before to try to troubleshoot the issues that you're having. So that is how to open a log using the the menus, and then just showed some things that you can do. Something that's nice is, in this case, I've already set a working directory. That's one of the commands that I ran up here. And so if you've set a working directory, you don't have to type a file path or even go through to the folders again. So what I could just do is, if I wanted to start a new log and record some new codes, I can just type log using, and you just need to put that in quotation marks, the name of the new file, log file. So I just type that, and then you'll see that it's saving it in my working directory that I set up here. And then I can do whatever I want, and then I'll have another log file that tracks all of this. And so that is, and again, you always want to close your log when you're done, because that actually saves the file so that all the content's in there. And so that's how you work with a log.